Hey guys, I am Sapphire Achilles with the Achilles Heel podcast, and I am definitely excited to be here with Goldie. We're going to talk about some very, very exciting things today. I can't wait to tune in, and I can't wait to see you there.
Man, you know who it is. Game-god-goldie, the one and only. And I got a special guest in the building. I know you've seen this woman online. She be talking a whole lot of good games. Some of y'all might call her a pick-me, but I just say she's thinking rationally. Introduce yourself to the people.
I'm Sapphire Achilles with the Achilles Heel podcast, and welcome. Happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here. Give me your background.
Ethnicity-wise?
Yeah, ethnicity-wise.
I'm South African and Malaysian.
South African and Malaysian. So we call that Blasian where I'm from.
I'm first generation American. So
first generation. So you got your papers?
No. I got my papers for sure.
Oh,
but
okay.
my parents are fresh off the boat.
Okay, I was gonna say, in Miami they doing them ice sweeps. You gotta be careful out here right now.
Real.
Listen, so you just said something to me, so we gonna start there.
Absolutely.
You said you were raised by a pimp.
Yes, I was.
That makes a lot of sense the way that you're talking to have the perspective that you have. So tell me, how did that influence how you are to this day?
So I'm gonna give a little bit backstory first.
Go ahead.
So I was actually out of my house around 14, 15 years old.
Yeah.
And during that process, I ran into a barbershop. I walked in the barbershop and I started doing my homework. It was just somewhere where somebody was getting their hair cut. One of my classmates, who was near my school, walking distance from my school. And all the barbers and stuff were talking to me about how kids don't do their homework no more and stuff like that. And they were like, you should come here more often. We're going to keep you accountable.
Yeah.
And I didn't have nothing else to do because, I didn't really have a home to go to and whatever the case may be. So I was doing my homework and everything. And it kind of began to be a daily thing. I would just always go there. And I realized the more I spent time at the barbershop, the more I was grasping how, these men talked, how they thought. And the barbershop is the male's den.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah.
I really recommend every woman to go to the barbershop and just shut up for 3 months.
You're gonna get a whole lot of game, huh?
A whole lot of game, I ain't gonna lie. But then I realized the owner of the barbershop, he was a pimp.
Yeah.
And that man has stories on stories, but it was his mentality. So I ended up staying with him for a little bit, and that's when he taught me the game.
When you say taught you the game, come on, break down the game.
Man, he had so many books that he would make me read.
What type of books?
About power.
Yeah.
About the art of seduction.
Yeah.
About all them books, man. He broke it down to me step by step.
And they don't understand real pimps that I knew. I knew some players and stuff. They were big on books. They were big on studying the game. They say hoeing is not a act, it's an art. You know what I'm saying? That's what. So what type of books were they giving you?
It was just it was a lot of power books.
Yeah.
It was a lot of control books.
Yeah.
It was a lot of narrative-based books where it's a certain type of understanding. It's almost like perfecting emotional intelligence and understanding the mind, controlling the mind.
I couldn't have said it better myself, and I've never said that, but you're absolutely right. Emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
So you gotta go deeper than that. You was raised by a pimp, essentially.
For a few
so
years,
what
for sure.
type of game do you use right now that you learned from him?
So here's the thing, right? There was a lot of differences that we had when it come to a lot of stuff. Because I noticed as I tried to use what he was telling, he actually, believe it or not, put me on to a lot of game, when it came to being submissive, contrary to what a lot of people would think, right?
Yeah.
And he actually taught me, don't be out here. I would come sometimes to the barbershop, maybe a spaghetti strap tank top and be yo, fast ass. Things like that. I'd be I never came to the barbershop again with them. I was to cover up,
That's some good game right there.
Yeah, but even in the small details, he knew the kind of women that men wanted as a wife, and he knew the kind of women men wanted to sleep with.
So tell them the difference. What's the difference?
Man, there's so many differences, and I think a lot of women don't understand
they don't. They don't. They blur the lines.
Exactly, but they trying to be like every other woman. And just because a lot of women get it confused, just because you get attention doesn't mean that they want to keep you for the long run.
Come on, and it's shocking to me that these women mistake sexual attention from men as you valuable. It's a million dudes in your DM want to have sex with you. Yeah. Very few men are gonna actually wife you and make them your girlfriend or your boyfriend.
Absolutely.
So you learn how not to look promiscuous, how to be a wife. So what are the qualities of a wife? What do men, from your perspective, want when they see a woman as a wife?
Well, I think there's a certain caliber of men when I talk about this, right? And the men that I want to find me as a wife is a man of God. Yeah. Because keep in mind, not all men will want the same thing as a man of God, 100%. They might say they will.
So what's a man of God want?
A man of God wants a woman that is God-fearing as well, someone who is courageous, but also knows how to cater to a man, knows how to be soft-spoken, knows how to, let him take control, let him take the lead. A man of God wants a woman to pray over him while he's sleeping.
That's a fact.
He wants her to be able, when the household is under, spiritual attack, how do you cover that household? Because a lot of the time the woman is the one who can completely cover the household in prayer and in fasting. And in making sure that, the kids are okay, being the feminine, touch, the soft touch, while the man should be, more of the leader.
I feel like every man want that, not just a God-fearing man. I feel like every man want that. You don't think so?
I think one of the big differences that I've seen is a lot of men say that they want that, but then don't understand that what comes with that is a woman being a little bit more conservative than a lot of men might want or think that they want.
So you think that's what it is?
Oh, absolutely.
So a man don't want a conservative woman, but he want all the attributes of a conservative woman.
Because a lot of men that lack God do not have the discipline and self-control that a man of God has.
Yeah, you think so?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I hear what you're saying. In theory, that sounds right, but I know that you see, first off, so you go to church a lot.
Yeah.
In theory, that sounds right. But if you grow up in the church, I grew up in the church, it seemed like the worst individuals were the pastor's kids. The fastest girls, the worst dudes were the pastor's kids. And I've seen a lot of scandals in the church.
Absolutely.
So how do you balance that and say if just because they're a man of God means they're going to have all these attributes? A lot of people faking it.
Well, I don't believe that just because you go to church, you're a man of God.
Oh, okay. All right.
If you really take things into perspective and look at things from what they are, Jesus was crucified by who? The people in the church, right?
Right.
If you really look things for what they are, like the people in the church are the ones that are the most hypocritical. They're the ones that are turned to God the most. But also we have to understand that church is like a hospital. It's a place where sick people go.
That's a fact. Anytime somebody going through something in their life, that's where they go.
Exactly.
As soon as a prostitute want to change her life, she go to the church. As soon as dude want to get out of selling dope, now he want to go to the church. So yeah, it's a lot of people in there that's sick.
Absolutely. So I say just because, you might go somewhere, you might be at a certain place does not make you, does not give you the attributes and the characteristic that you might practice every day.
So let me ask you something. Are you married?
No, I'm not.
You got a boyfriend?
No, not yet. I think dating is a form of prostitution.
How do you get to know somebody then?
You vet them out.
How do you vet them without dating them?
Let me ask you questions.
How do you do that without going on a date?
Well, we can go on a date, but when it comes to like the boyfriend,
but you just said
thing,
dating is a form of prostitution.
Oh, absolutely.
I kind of feel where you're coming from on the point that
modern dating.
A lot of times. A dude, he not even looking for a girlfriend. He knows this woman doesn't have any wife qualities. He's taking her on a date so he can get some sex.
Absolutely.
So in that aspect, I get it. But if you're trying to find a husband, how do you find a husband?
You vet them out.
Yeah. What type of questions you asking a man?
So the first one, I want to see if you believe in God.
Yeah.
If you have a relationship with God.
Yeah.
I want to know if you are able to listen to God, submit to him. I want to know what day you go to church. I want to know what kind of family you have and what upbringing you want to, put your kids in.
Yeah.
It's so many different values and characteristics I want to see you have first.
So that's what you look for.
Absolutely.
You know what I look for in a woman?
What do you look for?
Number one, how much she likes me, right? How much she likes me, how cooperative she is, her teachability index, does she have a pleasing personality, and then her family background. You could tell a lot about a woman by her family background. If her family is in disarray, she didn't have a 2-parent household, most of the time she cannot replicate something she's never seen. So therefore, it's going to be very hard to have a woman a certain way when she's never seen that in her house.
So question, right? A man, and I see you have a beautiful place, by the way.
Thank you.
But as a man that has established himself, how do you differentiate a woman that likes you and wants to be with you? Because I'm sure a lot of women are attracted to you too.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate a woman that is there for you just based off of what you have and what you look like at this present moment, and somebody who is going to be there for you when your father's in the hospital?
Oh, I'm glad you asked that question. I'm glad you asked that question. I say it all the time because a lot of dudes, they lead with their bag. So therefore, if you lead with your hand, a woman fall in love with your hand. So what I do is I go out my way not to do anything for a woman for a long period of time.
Absolutely.
Right? So if a woman deal with me, we not going to a bunch of 5-star restaurants, trips out the country. Yeah, I live a nice lifestyle. You might ride in the Rolls Royces. You might come to the penthouse, but that's it. If a woman stick around long enough and she's not asking or requiring these things to stay with me, then I know she's here for me. But it take a long time. A lot of dudes won't even know until they lose their money that a woman is not with them. They was with the lifestyle. They fell in love with the lifestyle. So it's hard, but it's easy for me because I ain't doing nothing.
And I think that is also what makes it a little bit interesting, because when I initially start, vetting somebody out, I don't ask to go to even get something to eat.
Yeah.
I'm like, let's go for a walk.
Yeah, see.
Let's feed ducks in a park.
Look,
Things like that.
You'd have caught me because I'd have been like, oh, she ain't even. See, and this is how a woman could really get a man like me. If a woman offered to pay for a meal, if a woman offered to buy me a drink, that's going to catch me because that's the opposite of what every other woman does. So you don't ask to do for nothing.
Respect. That's all. I expect that. That's
all.
all.
See, but listen, this is what I'm going to say, right? In the most respectful way. You sound like you have all of these great qualities. You're a good looking woman. How is it that you don't have a man?
Well, I want to say this, right? Because I'm 21.
Oh, okay. You only 21.
Yeah. But I only point that out to say that because of my age, when I was growing up, because I've had this mentality for a while, growing and developing.
Yeah.
Growing up from a young age and having this mentality, it was hard to find a man my age that had the same thing.
Yeah, because the way you talk, you sound very mature.
And a man that's also 21, you think he's looking for that?
Nah,
he ain't worried about that.
But women date up anyway in age.
They do date up, but it's a little bit difficult.
I don't know. You ain't really answer my question. The way you talking, you saying all the right things.
Absolutely.
Right? But as valuable as you sound, I would think that it would be so many valuable men trying to get access to you, trying to wine and dine you.
There are.
Yeah.
I will say people don't understand the burden that comes with this.
Yeah.
People don't understand that when I am pursued now by a fluctuation of people, especially starting this podcast.
Oh, I'm already knowing.
I'm saying qualities, characteristics, and people are looking like, wow, I've heard that people find me attractive too. I'm like,
oh, you've heard that?
I just heard it humbly. I just heard it from a birdie. They have. It's almost like everybody is putting their best foot forward, and that's a good thing in a way sometimes, right? But it can also be a very bad thing when you have a plethora of people just always, oh, let me give you this, let me give you that, da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And I'm just like, I'm just trying to play basketball. Niggas chill.
Yeah. Niggas are thirsty, I ain't gonna lie.
Let me give you value. Let me.
Oh, you saying all the right things. So you want to give a man value.
Absolutely. I'm trying to multiply it.
Oh, my goodness. You saying all the right things. Look, okay, let me ask you this, right? So you say you want to bring some value. How do you bring value to it? You told me you're going to pray over man, which is very valuable, right? You're going to bring peace. You're going to be submissive. What else of value you going to bring? So
that's a good question, right?
Yeah.
Because I need the women to listen to me on
go
this,
ahead.
Right?
Teach them something.
So since high school, I've been learning stocks, right?
Yeah.
Now, when I began, I was not good at it.
Yeah.
But because I learned to keep perfecting and using my craft and learning from it, learning to multiply money. First, I did it for myself when I was younger, right?
Yeah.
But then I understood the value that I could bring to a man by doing that, especially if he is not educated in the trading market, in the investment market.
Yeah.
Learning how to invest in properties, learning how to invest in the money and multiplying his success. Women don't understand that if she could just learn how to flip his bag from 1 to 3 times.
Listen, I've had so many women on my podcast, and I ask them this question, and they say absolutely nothing. You are the first woman who've actually came on here and said something of actual tangible value. He on my podcast all the time. They say, oh, I bring peace. Nobody has ever said, I'm learning skills to where I can flip his bag.
Absolutely.
That's ridiculous that you're the first woman who has ever said something like that on here. So you're really in your mind saying you're learning these different business skills and acumen so you can take your man's bag and flip it.
Absolutely.
So would you deal with a man who didn't have a bag to flip?
We could build. See, I'm young. That's the thing that I have right now.
Yeah.
So since I have youth, I can build with the man, and that shows my loyalty.
Yeah.
That's me being able to say, hey, I'm here for you when
you almost sound too good. Like you almost sound too good. It doesn't. I don't know if I believe it. It's just too perfect.
Here's the thing, though. I want to make something very clear. I'm the most flawed person I know. I do say that. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, like, I have been selfish. I have, before I have, put people in positions where, they were just like, dang, like, you put yourself first, or you did this, or you did that. I've done all of that stuff. Not all of it. Definitely not all of it. But
so tell me a situation where you put yourself first, when you were a flawed character.
When have
you cheated on a man before?
No cheating.
You never cheated on a man?
No cheating. Emotionally, yes. So, yes, technically I have. I have. In high school, I definitely did. I'll take accountability.
Yeah. All right, so tell me, what have you done where you put yourself first?
I've lied out of fear.
Yeah.
I have... I'm trying to give you something that I really need to take accountability for.
I'm trying to hear it. You coming on here sounding way too perfect. I don't know if I believe it.
Absolutely not. No, I think the majority or the goal here is to understand, like, the way that I could see as a young woman how people are going and where they're ending up, and how I'm like, dang, I don't want to be like those people. Yeah. Now, see, everybody on the podcast now, everybody that's talking about rah, all the women who have maybe my same mentality are 40, 50 years old. They already been through that.
You 100%. The ones who do kind of talk like you is after their sexual marketplace value has plummeted.
Absolutely.
After now they have to humble themselves. It's very rare to find a young woman in her prime talking like that. Because you ain't got to talk
intelligence.
That is.
That's all it is.
That is.
And it's the direction of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. So how long? Wait, we got to back up, right? You said that you were raised by a pimp. Did you see his hoes ever?
Yes, I did.
How was that interacting with them?
I would, just very cordial. Yeah. Whatever the case may be. Very, respectful. They really found him attractive too, so they were very all up on him and stuff like that. And he was even, for polygamy and stuff like that.
Are you for polygamy? And before you say no, you're a woman of God. We're not gonna act like polygamy was not in the Bible.
Absolutely, but so murder was in the Bible too. Adultery was in the Bible too.
Didn't God give Solomon more wives?
And what did he say his life was?
What did he say?
In vain.
In vain.
He said his life was vain.
Yeah.
His downfall was those same women. Same with David. He killed for that woman because of what? The most strongest and the most wisest man in the Bible fell to what?
A woman.
Lust.
Yeah. Okay, so you're not with polygamy.
I'm not.
Why not?
Because I don't. I think that everybody who says that it's natural, I say sin is natural too.
Okay, but hear me out though, right? So you believe that monogamy is natural?
I think no.
No.
I think monogamy is the practice of discipline.
So okay, You got some good answers right now. Okay, monogamy not natural. So you would say that we should be living unnaturally then?
I think we should be living, here's a perfect example, right?
Yeah.
If somebody hits me on the head, right?
Yeah.
Just for the fun of it. I think my next thought, just not even thinking about it, is to take this iPad and smack the shit out of them.
Yeah.
Excuse my language.
Yeah. I see where you're going with this. Go ahead,
but
though.
I'm not going to do that.
All right.
You know why?
Discipline.
Because I'm going to think about my actions and say, you know what? There could, one, be consequences for my actions. And two, that's not right.
What are the consequences? So you're trying to liken that to polygamy. So you're saying the consequences of polygamy are negative and polygamy is not right. That's what you're saying.
Wait, say that one more time.
You were saying if you hit somebody back, that's not right. Mm-hmm. So what you're saying is, in relation to polygamy, you're saying that's not right.
I could say it's self-defense.
So you think polygamy is not right?
I think that I understand why certain people do it. Yeah. And if it is for you, I hope that you have the greatest life ever.
Okay, here's the next question. Do you feel like it's in a man's nature to be monogamous, his natural instinct? A woman could have a baby every 9 months. A man could go out and impregnate 5 women a day. Mm-hmm. Do you feel like it's right, natural for him to be with one woman the rest of his life?
It's not natural, no.
Do you think it's fair to ask a man to do that?
Yes.
Yeah, why?
Mm-hmm. Why? Because it's not fair for a lot of things. I think if I ask somebody to have the self-control and discipline of self.
Yeah.
Whether it's fair or not, and if you want to throw a temper tantrum in the corner, by all means, please, because I'm not stopping somebody from going outside.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure plenty of women, especially with high status and success, plenty of women will be okay with that lifestyle. And again, that is all for you. But what I ask is you would have at least the decency to tell me so I can find a man that I promise you will treat me right and only be loyal to me.
But you just said you don't have a man right now. So have you not found that man?
I have.
You have?
I have found that man. When I was in high school and stuff like that, as of right now, do I believe that God is putting me in a stage where I need to be spreading the word and things like that, to where maybe I do need to work on self right now. Maybe I do need to work on, because at the end of the day, a man is not going to, I'm going to give my phone passwords and everything to my man. So when he looks at it and he sees the plethora of men going, wow, you're an amazing woman, So
you're going to give him your passwords. You're going to give him your location.
What if I die? What if, someone's going to need to do it. The person that I'm going to be the most trusting in is the person I'm going to be spending the rest of my life with. There should be no secrets.
So let me ask you this. All right, so you're not with that. But do you truly believe that you will find a man that will get with you, and from now until you guys die, not only be with you, but be faithful, and he won't have sex with another woman but you to the day he dies? You think that's reality?
I can only pray.
No. Call
me delusional, but I can only pray, right?
But you said delusional. That's a serious question. You feel like if you met a man right now, from now until the day you die, 50, 60, maybe 70 years, you expect that man, and you think that man will not have sex with another woman ever?
Can I ask you something?
Yeah.
How serious do you think fasting and praying is?
Fasting and praying is
like the art of discernment.
The art of discernment. I feel like that's one of the most important things. I had a mentor. He told me discerning the type of people you're around and the type of people you listen to is probably one of the most important skills you can have in life.
And do you think that you are able to vet out the characteristics of somebody in a type of way that you are able to find a woman that you believe this is who she is?
No.
Ever?
No, let me tell you why. I've been with a lot of people, and you're young. I'm about 10 years older than you, right? So
right.
I've found that you can never know who somebody's going to become. Someone could have a set of characteristics today and be completely different in 10 years. I can say, based on how she's acting today, the likelihood of her acting in a certain way could be for a time. But I've seen people completely flip their entire character, over the course of a long period of time.
That's heartbreaking, but
it's reality.
It is reality, and that's
listen. I'm gonna tell you one thing, right? So I had an uncle, right? He was a player. You know, he had hoes back in the day. He's retired now. He doesn't do that anymore, right? He's in the church now.
So he says.
Look, but
changed man.
He told me, right, one day I went to him. I was with this young lady. I'm like, man, she do everything for me. I get this from my baby. Woo, woo. He like, slow down. He said, let me tell you something. One day, that woman is going to wake up next to you, look you dead in your face, and say, fuck you. I was like, what are you talking? I'm about to hang up the phone, man. You don't know what you're talking about. She perfect. Years later, that and worse happened. And not just with her, but with a lot of different women.
She left,
but she didn't just leave. But she didn't cheat, but she was just doing a lot of things. Her character started to change in ways that I didn't know her. And I've had many women, even friends that I've had, whose character changed drastically. Yeah. So just because you know who somebody is today, life will make somebody change.
I agree with you.
And so it's very hard to say, I'm going to get with this person and they're going to be like this for the rest of your life. I just feel like it's delusional. It's more than delusional. To me, you're setting yourself up for failure. I feel like a more healthy way to think about things is I can meet this person today. They great today. We can work together. We can grow together. We can build together. Mentally, physically, spiritually, we can grow. But at a time, we might grow apart. If you had that type of expectation, people wouldn't be so depressed when they got divorced or when somebody cheated or when somebody left. Right. I feel like it's unrealistic to expect that.
As it is a lot of times. And I won't ever.
I'm not trying to break your spirit now.
No, absolutely you're not. But that's why I also thank God for being able to say, listen, the two ways out of a marriage are infidelity or death. Right?
Yeah, that's it.
Infidelity or death.
Yeah.
So if a man cheat on me, then what? I get the out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It was nice knowing you.
Yeah. I mean, you hopeful. You hopeful. Let me get into some of these questions. Okay.
Hey, one thing I learned is right here. You know what I'm saying? Don't hate the player.
Learn the game.
Learn the game.
I'm trying to teach you something. I'm gonna have to check up on you in 5 years from now, see if you're still feeling the same way.
Factual.
Have you ever had a threesome?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
I mean, I feel like if you did, you wouldn't tell us, but I'll take your word for it.
No. I'm like with the no.
No, you ain't with that type of.
No.
Do you like girls?
No. I find girls attractive. I know why men like them because I look at them every day and I'm like, damn, girl, you sexy.
Yeah, but you don't mess around with girls.
I'm not sexually attracted to them.
No, is that because you're religious or just?
No, I'm just not gay.
Okay, let me ask you this, right? This is a big topic. I always say that most people, women in particular, do not know what love is. Do you agree with that?
Yes.
Yeah, you agree with what I'm saying. Okay, why do you think that?
Because love is sacrifice.
Ooh, okay.
Love is not a fleeting emotion.
Oh my goodness. Okay, keep going.
I think a lot of people get it confused when they say, "Oh, I love you," but don't know that love comes with a type of commitment that you will lay your life down for somebody. The type of love that now I'm here to serve you. My servanthood is in my character, and this is how I show that I love you, because I will sacrifice my time. I will sacrifice certain things that, people would crave access for, but you don't even gotta worry about that, because I'm gonna make sure that it don't even have to cross your mind. I'm gonna make sure that it's my time and my presence are front and foremost for you. This is what I'm here to do. Because at the end of the day, I do believe that one thing that the devil hates the most is a type of covenant that is between you, your spouse, and God. And for me to withhold any of that love, that sacrifice, and that commitment back from my spouse, that's cheating both you and God.
I 1,000% agree. Listen, y'all better get in her DM, man. She a catch. Listen, I say it all the time. Women, when a woman says she loves you, real love is like the love you got for your mother, the love you got for your brother. Don't matter what they do, you gonna love them. They kill somebody, go to prison, you still gonna love them. Don't matter who they with, you want them to have the best person for them. But when it comes to a male and female relationship, she don't want you to be happy if it's not with her, even if it's somebody better than her.
And you see women go crazy.
That's
over that.
not love. That's jealousy. That's possession. That's why I say what women call love is not actually love. But you agree, and you put it real eloquently. Who raised you? Like you said, a pimp raised you too. That's crazy.
I will say my mother is like, man, she's the epitome of a God-fearing woman.
Yeah.
I 100% testify, and a lot of women are deprived of that kind of mother.
Yeah.
I praise God every day for a mother like her.
So why were you outside at 14 years old?
Protective order against one of my family members.
So you had to leave your house at 14 and you was just on your own?
Yeah, at first I went with another family member, and then they said that I couldn't be there anymore after the first semester of high school. And then I was house hopping ever since.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But I think that's also where I learned how to leverage skill set for things that I need resources.
Yeah.
Instead of the easy way out, selling my body, selling, all of these things.
Right, that's the easy way out.
My biggest bargain was learning how to cook for people. Now, a lot of people, women didn't really want to, take me in and things like that. But when I was able to bargain with a man on, just letting me, get a room in the corner or a couch or something, I would say, okay, let me cook all your meals for you in exchange for rent. And I learned to cook my ass off. I ain't gonna lie, because I didn't want to be in the situation where a man was like, well, what do you do? Da, 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 da. And if he did, that's okay, because a lot of men did. Man, I got some crazy stories about them niggas.
Just give us one.
All right, this man one time, right? I ended up, this was I think my freshman year of high school, and I ended up running away from my old house. Hopped out the window, whatever the case may be. And one of my photographers, I just started modeling back then. One of the photographers, barely knew him, whatever the case may be, was like, I got this place upstairs. I'm never home, so you could just chill up there. You just got to keep the house clean.
Oh, yeah.
I am just here because I know that you're a young woman.
Hey, them photographers, man, I know some photographers. Them photographers, man, be hitting everything.
They be crazy.
Yeah, go ahead.
And so I'm like, wow, do you expect anything? No. I'm just a good person. And then things started unraveling. I started thinking, I started seeing that this nigga was paying for pussy all the time. And he would just bring these girls over where them girls was disgusted by him. I ain't gonna lie.
Damn.
But then I seen that he had this big sex closet, right? So on some
50 Shades of Grey type.
And that, but it was like a white version.
Yeah.
Like a white Middle Eastern version.
Yeah.
And
what do you have in there? Swing sets?
So he had a collection of, I don't even know if this is gonna be censored. He had a collection of dildos, but they were all black.
All some Diddy types.
And they were all big, and he had a machine that he would attach them onto his bed, had handcuffs on all four sides of the bed.
And he ain't even put that up when you would come in and see it.
No, he wanted me to find it. And it would be like, what? I didn't stay there for very long. Because
how long you stay there?
I stayed there for a few months before I found out everything. And then I found out there were a lot of girls who had cases against him.
Oh, wow.
That man changed his name, moved locations several times. These
how old were you?
Yeah, I think I was 16 at the time.
And he was 16. Oh,
I was 16.
Yeah, I'm sure he got a whole bunch of cases on him.
Yeah. And so I remember this one time, this is when it really clicked in my head before I found out everything. I was upstairs in my room, and he was talking about this stripper coming and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Coming to live with him and whatever. I was like, okay, that's cool. And he was like, well, I'm going to get a stripper pole and stuff. I'm going to, get one. And, he was like, you're going to learn how to dance on it, right? And I'm like, what? Huh? I'm 16, mind you. And at the time, I wasn't thinking about my age, but now that I'm looking back at it, I'm like, nigga, you wildin'.
These predators out there.
He was wildin'.
Listen, speaking of that, what do you think about the Diddy and Cassie case? What do you think about that whole situation?
So when it comes to mainstream media, I'm not exactly very educated on that. So I don't know if I could speak too much on that, but I ain't gonna lie. I don't know, niggas seem wild.
Okay, but what do you think? As far as she was grown, she consented. Now she's saying it was manipulation. What do you think about that?
Oh, well, that can go both sides. I ain't gonna lie, because yes, I know that men are shit, women are shit too.
Yeah.
It could go both ways. I don't know
this media trained answer. That's how you feel about it? Just
well, it's only because I don't follow any celebrities. I don't follow mainstream media or any of the news stuff. So I really don't know exactly what happened. Yeah. And I've never followed up on the story. Like a lot of people will look into it and stuff like that. I've only seen certain headlines, and you know how mainstream media is. They be spinning stuff like crazy. You don't know what's going on. Yeah.
You know how I feel about it?
How you feel?
I feel like if they're going to say a woman was manipulated, right, then they should change the age of consent to an age where they feel like a woman can. Otherwise, what is it called when they like set you up? Coercion or that. So if she's of age and I can deal with her.
How old was she?
I think she was like 19.
Oh, okay.
But then 20 years later, y'all gonna come out and say I manipulated that poor young girl. Well, then make the age of consent less, because you said it was legal, right? You feel where I'm coming from? Not to say, I get it though. A woman who's 17, 18, 19 years old, you got a lot of money. It's gonna be very easy to manipulate that woman. But we gotta have some sort of law. You can't come back 20 years later if it was legal.
Yeah, 20 years later is kind of crazy. I ain't gonna lie.
You know, and I don't know the details of the case anyway. I just find it, a lot of women will do what they want to do, and then later, I have a lot of OnlyFans girls on here, and they always victim, they always come on here and talk about the man they had. Oh, I was only 18. He manipulated me. He loved by me. So if there's no type of responsibility, we just need to up the age of consent to 25, 30. That's how I feel about it. Let me ask you a question, right? Because I always talk about this, and you seem like a traditional individual. Who do you think should be pursued, the man, the woman, or the more valuable individual?
I think we should pursue each other in different ways. I think in ways that we can provide value, we should pursue each other. But I think spontaneous events and things should come from both parties so that at least there's a mutual interest. But I will say this, when it comes to the adored and the adorer, the unpopular opinion that I have is that a lot of women say that they want to be the adored, but I believe they really want to be the adorer, only because no woman wants to look down on a man.
Listen.
A woman wants to experience that fluctuation of emotions and know that she is with the one that she loves.
You saying all the things that I say, I agree. Well, I mean, I feel like the more valuable person should be pursued, and that's almost always the man. But I've never seen a relationship long term that was a good relationship where the man was chasing a woman. It was always when a woman was chasing a man. I have women on here all the time, and they think about it, they be like, you know what, my best relationship was when I was all on top of the man, when I was chasing a man. I feel like a woman don't really respect her man if he's the one chasing her.
Yeah, not too much.
Nah.
You don't do it too much. But I think once you've established the type of commitment, I think when it comes to a marriage, I think the father should be chasing the woman too. You said because at the end of the day, like how else are your kids gonna learn when mommy's running across and daddy's chasing her across the kitchen?
All right, we back with McQueen in the building.
Man, what's poppin', man? Megan McQueen.
Now you said you had some questions.
So I wanted to know if you believe what you were doing was empowering or exploiting.
Ooh, that's a question right there. I wasn't a pimp, so therefore.
Exactly.
So, but you know, from my perspective, because I grew up around a lot of players and Max and things like that. Mm-hmm. At one time, you know, I was really attracted to the lifestyle. And, you know, my uncles and things, they would try to push me away from it. And as I got older, I started to see the negative effects of it. You know, when you know better, you do better. But in the age as an adolescence of mine, all I saw was the facade of it. All I saw what it looked like. Mm. But the older I got and I saw what it actually was, the psychological consequences of that, and people entrusting their life into your hands that don't know any better, and you putting them down a certain path, you know. So the older I got, I realized like that's not something that I could encourage anybody to do. So
as you had more experience with women and, you know, were around the kind of women that, you know, you were around, do you think that your experience with them has tainted your view on women? No, I think my experience with women has opened my eyes to the reality of women. Because in that type of lifestyle, you see what's really going on. You see doctors, lawyers, dentists, the average married guy, politicians, celebrities. You see all these people with wives indulging in prostitutes. And so you see that, you know,
white picket fence thing that they try to show you is not actually reality. And then I lived in Las Vegas for over a decade, so I saw bachelorette parties every week, and I'm seeing these women who are getting married, having sex, doing things with, you know, all of these. So it really opened my eyes to the reality of life.
Yeah. Yeah. What about the women that are not in the industry or are not?
None of those bachelorettes were in the industry.
Oh, dang. Yeah, that's sad.
I mean, you know what? You would say it's sad, but when you see it so often and you see that's what it is, you just say, that's what it is. And most people are living in this Disney lifestyle because they've never seen it. If you've ever gone on an escort website, you can go to multiple escort website, right, where you can buy a prostitute. Any country, any city in the country, you can find tens of thousands of women.
Is this like on black market or something?
No, it's regular websites.
Oh.
You can go.
Like if I just go
right
there,
now,
like how to buy a prostitute.
Right now, you can do that. Any city, and it's tens of thousands of women.
Can I Google it right now?
Yeah, you can. Listen, these women have to pay for those ads to be up. They're
like
not,
how much?
I wouldn't know.
Like
I wouldn't know. You gotta ask them. But they have to pay for these ads to be. They're not paying for these ads to be up if they're not getting a return. And I only say that to say, when you really understand the reality of life, that not everybody, a lot of people are tricking. A lot of people are visiting the massage parlor. I'm trying to tell you. See, most people don't understand this. So they have a skewed view of the world of my dad was this or my doctor is this. No, they're not. So I just have a different way of looking at the world that's actually in reality.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying?
It's like right there too.
You didn't know that?
No.
How old are you again?
21. She
I'm
only 21.
Okay. Where are you from?
I'm in like Virginia, DC area.
Okay.
But like, I mean, I don't dabble in this world.
I know, but like, it ain't ever been no niggas like ever like mention like
that they
getting prostitutes and shit like that.
I mean, no.
That just probably means you hang around the right people.
I mean, if I hang around a guy, we're balling. Like we.
Oh, you hoop?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like I mean, the kind of guys that I deal with is more like they just on some hoop gaming
shit. But at the same time, he could be a gamer, he could be a square,
and he's still knocking bitches on.
Those are the ones that are buying them.
Yep, because it's hard for them to go out. I know some of the nicest guys. Facts. Take care of their kids, go to work every day, love their woman. And they got an addiction to go to the massage parlor on a regular basis. And you would look at him and you wouldn't even be the wiser.
That's facts.
You know what, though? Come to think of it, I actually have to take it back because even the photographer I was telling you about, he was paying for it. But he spun it to me like it was like a sugar baby kind of. But it's the same thing, right?
It's essentially the same shit. It don't really matter where it come from. Niggas is still paying for coochie. You know what I'm saying?
Facts. Yeah. So, question: would dating now be modern prostitution?
Yes, 1000%.
Yeah, it's just under the guise. It's just make me feel better about it. Make her feel better about it. She doesn't want to say I'm selling it. Yeah. You know?
Because when women get up on the internet talking about, oh, I don't know, how am I supposed to know if a man don't like me if he don't send me money? Bitch, you're a prostitute.
Right.
What are we talking about here?
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? What happened to actually getting to know each other?
Yeah, right.
Let me tell you this, though. Like, being in a lifestyle, you see a lot of stuff, and you kind of see it like, back in the day, it's like you look down on tricks. The older I got, I started to understand. It was the richest and most successful dudes that was paying the most because they understand their value and their time. They don't want to have to deal with this relationship, go on this dinner date. This woman's not going to be my wife. She can't be my girlfriend. I really want one thing. Like most of these dudes, they want one thing, except they going to the club, spending $1,500 a night, spending money on this dinner, doing all of this, buying this car. These dudes will come in, spend $1,000, have their hour, and go right back to work. Mm-hmm. That's actually efficient. You don't have to lie to her. You don't have to do all of these things. Now you just some drama because she in her feelings. So I see it differently now. I don't partake in tricking, but I do understand, like, you know.
Yeah.
What do you feel like most of these women bring? Well, you're different. But on the average woman that you see, sometimes it's hard for me because even when a woman is beautiful, I think, what can she actually bring to my life? Most women ain't praying. Most women don't know how to be submissive. And if they do, they faking it. Most women don't even understand what love is. They just looking for something to get out the situation. So when I see most women, even if they're attractive, it's hard for me to even care to talk to them because it's like, what am I really going to get from this situation? It's a waste of time.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I think you just need to, kind of like you were saying you were doing, just being very intentional with your resources, your time, and understanding that like a woman who really loves you will put in that time.
That's a fact. I'm glad it's coming from a woman's mouth.
Absolutely.
That
if a woman really likes you, she will.
Nigga, what?
Bro,
say it.
Say
it. Say it so they can, because we talking about that.
That's your camera. Say it.
Say it, man.
I ain't gonna lie, women. Let's be real. If you really like a man, you will spend your check.
Nick, come on, Neil.
Spend a bag on that man. I ain't gonna lie.
Come on, Neil.
What do you need, King?
Come on, Neil. But when I say it, I'm sassy. When I say it, I'm feminine.
Yeah.
Listen, I say it all the time. She don't like you if she don't spend no money on you.
That's a fact.
So you feel like dudes should be asking a woman, like if I take a woman on a date 2-3 times, the fourth date I should ask her, hey,
don't ask her. Right. Just see if she does it.
She ain't gonna do it.
Just see if she
ain't gonna do it. She you let me know these women ain't shit.
Yeah.
She ain't gonna do it.
But listen, like you said, bro. Once you but listen to me though. Like what you said, bro. It's like the law of exposure. Once you see it happen once, you can't come down from it. I didn't have to go on 3-4 dates with this last woman I was dealing with for her to start spending money and big money too.
So what happened?
Like he said, they act submissive because they know that that's what you want until they feel like they got you emotionally hooked, and then they start acting different because they think, because most niggas are gonna fall for it, right? They'll do exactly what you know. You know what I'm saying? She probably watched my content. She probably knows like what type of dude I am, like from the first date, whatever, okay? And she was like, okay, probably like, you know what? I see what type of guy this guy is. I'm going to do exactly what I know he likes, okay? Because I know his young ass ain't never had it before, okay? And she had some game on her. She was like 37 years old, okay?
Oh, she was older.
Yeah. So she know, I'm 31.
Okay.
So she was like, oh, I'm finna do this because I know that's what he wants. And then she thought that emotionally, after 2 or 3 months, that she could be like, okay, look.
Psych.
Exactly. And she thought that I was going to stay because she thought that I actually, you know what I'm saying? I was going to be so emotionally attached that I was going to drop my own morals that I had explained to her from the very beginning, and I kept it all the way 1,000. Do you know what I'm saying? And I noticed earlier you said you would want a man to have enough respect for you to keep it 1,000 from the very beginning. That's exactly what I did.
You a choice.
And she and I gave her a choice, and she accepted it. So then 2 months later, 3 months later, she started acting different, changing up her you know what I'm saying, her shit, and then trying to change my program that she initially agreed to, okay, because she had already spent money on buying trips, $3,000 trip here, paying for helping my dad with his health, spending money on this, buying me this food, buying me all that shit, right? And then she's like, look, it's either me or whatever your program is. And I said, oh, okay, well, for sure. Look, I guess we're not talking anymore. Now, she overplayed her hand, and now she right now, as we're speaking, she's trying to hit me up still.
Let's ask her about that situation.
Go ahead.
What do you think happened in that situation? If she was acting like she loved this man, she doing everything for this man, and then one day she could be like, well, if you can't do this, then I'm going.
An ultimatum is crazy, though.
Yeah.
Like,
so what do you think about that?
She's expecting you to stop your hustle, stop your grind, stop your lifelong hard work. Yes. That's crazy.
It's not only just the hustle, right? It's just about my program and how I move.
She was okay with it.
And she was okay with it. And I made it extremely clear, even before she even bought the trip. That's how 100 I kept it. I said, look, don't spend the money on that trip until I know for sure that what I'm saying to you is very crystal clear. And she said, oh, no, okay, for sure. Bought the trip, and then I guess she thought, I get on my podcast and I'm bragging about it. Yeah, I'm trying to praise the woman. Like, man, look, man, y'all niggas ain't got no woman out here spending $3,000 and get you on this motherfucking trip to Curacao, nigga. You don't got no woman doing that. I guess she took that, you know what I'm saying, and let it big her head up, and then she thought that, okay, you know what I'm saying, like if he brings it up again or whatever, like over time, I get him enough like emotionally hooked that I'll start showing who I really am, and he'll just have to deal with it because most niggas would.
Yeah.
I want to know.
Most niggas wouldn't walk away.
I want to know what she thinks about it. What do you think happened there?
From what you're telling me, I am kind of in my mind. I'm thinking like, okay, a lot of women think that their beauty is enough. Mm-hmm. That their beauty is everything that they're going to bring to the table, especially when it comes to sex. Because when you guys get intimate and whatever the case may be, a woman thinks she got you, and they don't understand. Niggas don't work like that.
So that's what you thought. You thought she just got in and was like, once I put it on him, once I'm with him.
Well, from what he's telling me.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't know the full story.
I was just asking what you thought.
Yeah. The full story is, too, though, she knows I'm very sexually disciplined. Actually, sex is on the bottom of the totem pole for me.
You know, women are intimidated by that.
And that's what I'm trying to say. So that's how she knew she had to come with the money and the other thing and being submissive. And this, she's saying all the right things. You know, I want you to own me. And she's saying all the right things.
Oh, that's crazy.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, she's doing a lot. Do you know what that's what I'm saying? There's a lot of details in here. She was playing her part very well.
Damn.
You know what I'm saying? So
I want you to own me.
Yeah, yes.
Hey, we say it all the time. And this is I feel like you might agree with this though. So when I was younger, I had an uncle and he used to tell me it's a big difference from having a woman and owning a woman. And the only objective should be is to own a woman. Right? He said, because when you own a woman, that's yours. And when she's yours, what do you do when a house is yours? You'll renovate it, you'll put tiles on the walls, you'll upgrade it. But if you don't own it, it's things you're not going to do to a place that you rent.
So do you believe that you can put yourself in that predicament when you're not married to them?
Yes.
Or how do I reframe this question? I want to reframe it as, do you think a woman should submit to a man she is not married to?
Yes.
I will say yes, because marriage is nothing but a piece of paper.
Exactly.
It shouldn't be that though.
Okay, so if we're talking about a mental marriage, then of course.
Not a mental marriage. A
covenantal
marriage.
What is a covenantal marriage?
A covenantal marriage is not me, you, and the government. It's me, you, and God.
So spiritual connection then.
Absolutely.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so you agree with that?
Yes.
That a man shouldn't just have a woman, he should own a woman, and a woman should allow her man to own her.
Yeah, my body ain't going nowhere else, is it?
See? You know, she's saying all the right things, man. It's like, what could you do?
Right.
let me ask you a question, though. Let me ask you a question, though. Do you feel like I feel like it's very selfish for a woman who has a man. She's married. She done built a home. Her man goes to work every day, takes care of her, takes care of the kids. They go on vacation. She's on a life insurance. You know, he's good to her. He loves her. And he may go out and step out and have sex with somebody one day, and she's willing to break up that happy home, split the kids up from the home, make all these financial destruction decisions that's going to affect them both, all because he went and had sex with a woman that, you know, he didn't even care about. Don't you find that selfish?
No.
You feel like it would be right for a woman to say, I'm throwing this all away, forget the kids, forget all of this, because you did something that didn't even really mean that much to you?
You think he made that decision? You think he should have thought about his actions though?
Oh, he should have. I'm not saying he's not responsible. He's responsible.
So how about let's both take accountability then, right?
Yeah.
Let's say you make a decision.
Yeah.
And you know, we gonna act like there's not a reaction to actions, right?
Right.
So when there's consequences.
Do you feel like that's an accurate consequence to his action?
Well, the Bible gives us two ways.
Yeah.
To get out of a marriage.
Yeah.
It's either infidelity or death. That's my dick, nigga.
Yeah, well, you know.
That's mine.
So you would just ruin everything because of that. You got a connection with this man, it's your soulmate.
I think we both ruined it.
Huh?
I think at this point there's consequences.
This is my opinion. This is my opinion. This is my opinion. I understand exactly what you're saying, but this is my opinion. If a nigga initiates the relationship as a monogamous thing, that means you essentially told this woman that she's the only one, and then she's ever going to be the only one.
I get that part. He is,
but then he goes
wrong.
and fucks some. Now you lie.
He's emphatically wrong. No. I'm not saying he's not. He's wrong.
Yeah.
He shouldn't have said he was going to do something if he wasn't going to do it.
Yeah.
But he loves this woman. He's built a life with this woman. He goes to work for this woman. This woman's on the life insurance. He has kids with this woman. He's built a home, a house, a life with this woman. Is that the proper consequence for him lying and breaking a trust? That's all I'm saying.
Can I ask you what your definition of love is?
My definition of love? Consideration. Consideration.
So we
I know exactly
should
where you're
be
finna go.
Considerate of the consequences that are about to happen right after I stick my dick in another woman.
If you love me, then I would be considerate of the kids, the house, the finances. I'm going to be considerate of those things as well.
And I'm going to be so considerate.
Isn't in the Bible forgiveness?
Why this is about to happen.
I understand what you're saying, Goldie. I just feel like if a nigga was really considerate about the bitch, he would have told her what it was from the very beginning instead of trying to lie.
But that's not. I mean, no, you're 100% right. I'm just saying. I was trying to help somebody out.
Not for sure.
Who you talking about? No, we on the ass. We on the ass.
Oh shit, nigga going through it in the background.
Trying to save somebody.
You see the tear behind the sunglass.
Right.
Let me ask you a question, right? I feel like it's an epidemic, right? I had a video that went kind of viral, and I said, if you meet a woman 26, 27 years old, and you dealing with her, be careful, because they're notorious at that age for stealing babies. And people got mad at me saying, you can't steal a baby. I feel like if you're with a woman and you tell her clearly, like, I don't want to have kids, make sure you're taking your birth control. I don't want to have kids with you. And she ends up getting pregnant, and she has that child, knowing full well you didn't want to have a child with her, and she's not religious, she doesn't care about abortions. I feel like that's a woman stealing a child from you. And I feel like it's very selfish, not only to the man, but to the child, that this man already told you he's not going to be in your life if you have a child, but you went ahead and had a child anyway. What do you feel about that?
I agree.
Thank you. We're back on the same page now.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say there are a few ways a man can have birth control. There are over 60 ways women can prevent
That's
it.
some game right there.
But the best way, if a woman really doesn't want to go through those things, just don't have sex, bro.
Yeah.
Just don't do it.
I'm just saying
they can't do that.
If you're gonna do it, then two people need to be in accord. Because why are you using a child as a bargaining chip?
For sure.
That's what they
That's
do.
a human life.
That's what the fuck I be saying.
Yeah.
I take that very seriously.
What does it say about the woman that is using a innocent soul
Bruh.
as a pawn to get back at? That's an evil individual.
Yeah,
You know,
and using the government's favor too against the man, like that shit's so messed up.
Yeah, for sure.
Excuse my language, but like no,
it's an epidemic of single mothers, because they will just have a baby with anybody. They'll have a baby with a dude they're not even serious with just to have a baby. It's crazy to me.
Yeah.
You could barely support yourself, and you just say, you know what, I'm gonna have a kid right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you think, this is my opinion, and I got to give credit to Dave Chappelle about this, but I agree with it, okay? I think that if a woman decides she wants to keep the baby, a man should decide that he doesn't want to be involved in it. What do you think about that? With no consequences, no birth, no, what's it called, child support, no governmental issues, no. If the woman says she wants to, keep the baby, okay, because it's my body, my rules, cool, that's fine. But it's my life, my rules too. I don't need to be there. What do you think about that?
Well, I do think that there is, there has to be two to tango. So I do think that there needs to be some sort of repercussions. However, I do not think a child costs as much as some people are putting child support on.
That's a fact.
I don't think that. But I do think...
But that's the reality of this, is that it does cost a lot.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But no, a child does not cost as much as some of these people are spending a month on.
No, for sure. Yeah,
that's...
Yeah.
People are spending like hundreds of thousands of dollars. I can guarantee you a lot of the time the mom is doing that to do her nails and her hair and nothing about the child.
It's called extortion.
The child is still going in the ghetto.
Exactly.
Like, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
That's not right.
Yeah.
But I will say, when it comes to it, yes, if you are man enough to put your dick in a woman, you should be man enough to at least help care for the child. I do think that there is some responsibility that should be inquired, but I do not think that the government should, especially because I do believe that women do this intentionally.
Yeah. So if there's a situation, right, where, the two people are dating, okay, and they both initially say, hey, we're not trying to have babies, saying this, whatever, right? And they both agree to that. And then, maybe 2 months down the line, they're having, raw sex and all that shit, and then accidents do happen, right? Like, I know you said it takes two to tango, that's true. But if they both initially were on the same page and then an accident happens, she says, I'm pregnant, and he's like, damn, well, I thought we were on the same page. We can't have this baby right now. She's like, nah, I'm having a baby. You don't think that a man, if she's adamant about being like, no, you're going to have this baby because I say, because it's my body, my rules. You don't think the man has the right to be like, okay, cool, well, I don't want nothing to do with that because we were on the same page. Now you're saying something else. You're trying to trap me. I don't want to be a part of it. Yeah. You don't think a man should be able to have the right to walk away from that?
I think that a man, and I encourage men to have enough dick discipline in order to not involve himself with women that might put him in those situations.
But see, if they're on the same page in the beginning, right, that means that he was on the impression that she wasn't that type of woman.
But just like he said, we don't know what people are going to do.
But that's my point, though. So it's like
that's why you need to be intentional with who you sleep with.
I agree.
Sex is the most. It should be the most spiritual bond and connection with somebody.
No, for sure.
Why would you do that with somebody you would risk having a child with and say, I don't even want children, but I'm going to do the very thing that is the one thing that's going to put that at risk?
Yeah, I mean, I hear you, but it's just like, we're speaking on like things that are just like that situation. You could be like he said, you could date a woman for 4 or 5 years and y'all on the same page, and then one day she wake up and just completely change into a different person.
That's why she say you got to.
At that point, I don't think it's about dick discipline. I just think it's like niggas, because I hear you. I totally agree about the dick discipline shit. I be saying this on the podcast all the time. Niggas need to have sexual discipline, and a lot of problems will go away. So I'm fully on the same page as you. I want you to know that. But it's just like at that point, at what point does it not become about dick discipline, and it becomes about we're dealing with a woman who just fucking changed. You know what I'm saying?
I think it's both people. Because at the end of the day,
How?
I've only heard from men, and please tell me if I'm wrong. I have heard from men know when they're about to.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but there's also, if we're going to get into it, there's also.
If the pussy feel a little too good, you can just say, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but there's also things like pre-cum, that's things that you wouldn't even know that's happening.
Then
you know what I'm saying?
encourage those kings out there who are worried about that to wear a condom.
Yeah,
for 5-6 years, nigga. Are we talking about the same situation here? Because I'm saying, look, at the woman,
then get a vasectomy.
Look at his face.
Come on now. You said that you want this certain thing, then you need to make sure that no woman can put you in that situation, because he's right. People change.
Yeah.
people
switch up so fast, especially when you got something to your name.
Some leverage
just
on
a
you.
little bit.
Yeah. Give a woman some leverage.
It's just so sad that niggas
so
got to go to those links. It's just so sad, you know?
But it's reality.
Yeah.
Since we're on the subject of sex, let me ask you something, right? When I was coming up, I had an older player. He taught me this, right? Some esoteric gaming. Tell me if you agree. He said when you're having sex with a woman, you can't just be talking when you're in the pussy. You got to be talking about what you want with her. Y'all supposed to be manifesting. And when you bust a nut, right at that moment, the universe is wide open and you're supposed to think about your goals and your dreams. Wow. He told me that is how you manifest in life. You don't just be talking, oh, baby, you like it? No, y'all got to be talking. We going to get some money together. That's what he taught. What do you think about that? What do you think about that?
We gonna end it off with the handshake a little. Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Nah, I mean, I've never heard it before.
Because sex is powerful. It's a powerful emotion. Emotions move worlds, right?
Absolutely. And I feel like no better interaction where you could still do it and still laugh with that person. You can still do it. It's not so serious, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You could experience those fluctuation of emotions. Yeah. That's when the bond is real.
See, I just gave you some game. You're welcome.
Yeah, thank you. With the little fa la 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 la.
Yeah. You got any more questions?
No, I feel like this was a great conversation.
You got some questions for her?
Nah, I mean, I feel like she is pretty, her game tight and right, nigga.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Said some things in a way. And something that you said, I'm going to have to rewatch it back. I'm going to steal that from you. You said women have 60 different ways of birth control.
Over 60.
And men only have, what'd you say, how many?
Very few.
Yeah, very few.
There's a few ways, but it is still possible.
Yeah, that's some game right
I'm just knowing if a woman claims that she don't want a baby, there are definitely multiple ways to make sure that you don't have one.
Yeah.
So just be intentional, please.
Listen, well, I appreciate you coming on. This was a very interesting program. One of my favorite guests. You came on and you kind of said a lot of things that I said in a different way, so I love it coming from a woman's mouth. Tell these people where they can find you. My podcast is the Achilles Heel Podcast, or you can find me on Sapphire Achilles. Sapphire Achilles on Instagram? Yes, on all platforms. On all platforms. All right. And that was another special episode of
Don't Hate the Player.
Learn the Game.
We out.